still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Oh, don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Oh, don't you still amaze me? If I find my way home, yeah.
This is the moment for those who.
What we do here is go back.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. I'm your host, Tim, the one and only Child of Mecha. And you guys, it's Friday. The end of another glorious week. And it's also the beginning of February. My birthday month! Yay! But anyway, for those of you that are in the YouTube chat doing the guessing game, I build giant robots. Got the new blue one. So, I had to replace the yellow one that didn't fit anymore. It's too big. So so I don't know if anybody got that. I don't know. But hey, tonight we're gonna continue on GBWC 2019 build. We're going to start scratch building this guy right here. The mother of all heat hawks. If you guys remember last stream, we kind of came up with that, conceptualized, and you guys had some wonderful suggestions and feedback, which then I took into scanned the piece of plastic that we drew on, took that into Illustrator, cleaned it up, got all the math right, the angles and everything like that. So it's ready to go. So we're gonna start scratch building that tonight. First we're gonna do some tidying up on something else. I'll show you that here in a minute, which honestly could be a common problem for you guys because it's fixing something, and I'll explain that here in a few seconds here. But you guys, if you want one of these awesome I Build Giant Robots shirts, or any of the other shirts that that you've seen me wear, hit up chadamecha.com, hit the store button at the top. You'll be transported to the store where you'll see hats and shirts and bags and all sorts of other cool goodies, right? So go get you some of that. People have been hitting that link pretty hard this week, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That all goes back into building cool shit for you guys, right? Secondly, and probably very, very importantly, the GBWC 2019 build partnered with, oh, I got to get that pointing down now. Partnered with USA Gundam Store, you guys. So if you guys need model kits, you need cool paints by some amazing people, Mr. Color, SMS, my boy Scott Taylor over there in Australia, man, hit up USA Gundam Store for all your needs. Adam Ryan, he'll treat you right. Aside from that, any of the other things that you see us working with here, you can find them either at USA Gundam Store or on the Amazon link just below around this area here on good old YouTubes and Twitch. This side, if you're watching on Facebook. So yeah, so that'll be fun too. All right. So the thing we have to fix tonight, I'm a bit perturbed at myself. Me. So putting the finishing clear coats on the upper support, or the back support arm for the Justa's base. This all here is glossy, and then everything else, the gray parts, are matte. So there's two different finishes, right? But in my impatience, I put the tape on here, I think, a little too soon, and this wasn't obviously fully cured yet, this gloss. So when I went to pull the masking tape up, it now has imprint, a slight imprint and texture. I don't know if you guys can see that in the, let's try to catch that. Yeah, see right there, you can see the grid right there on top, right up here, where that masking tape was, and it just goes all the way down, right? Yeah, you can see it real good right in there. So I've got to clear coat this thing again. The back actually isn't terrible, but we're gonna still fix it. It's not nearly as bad as the front, right? This is the front, and it's bad. You can plainly see the texture from the tape and the grid and everything like that. So what we've got to do is we've got to go in, we've got to sand this down slightly, get this back to nice and smooth, and then what'll happen is I'll clear coat this again, just mask off the satin areas, clear coat, hit this again with a gloss. It should be perfectly fine. But sanding a finished piece like this is always a daunting task, right? A lot of people, you know, have problems with their clear coats, or maybe have dust or something like that, or debris getting into their paint and stuff. And, you know, they don't want to necessarily try and scratch that off. So what do? Right? Common problem. So, we're going to wet sand this guy. And I've done this plenty of times before, so don't shit the bed or anything like that. Your boy knows what he's doing, okay? So I'm going to show you how to fix this, all right? It's actually, should be a pretty easy fix. So what we're going to do, switch to camera 2, all right? So we've got our little basin of water here. We've got our parts. The next part in this process is some nice 2,000 grit sandpaper. Yes, 2,000 grit. You could probably get away with 1,500, but I wouldn't go any lower than that. 2,000 grit here. Now we're going to cut a little piece. This thing likes to curl on me, so we're going to cut a little slimmy piece off of this, and then I'll show you what we do. Here we are. Just like that. Put this roll off to the side for later, and then you got your thin little strip of 2,000 grit, right? Now, what I like to do is I like to get that even smaller, so I'll actually tear this in half and then fold the two pieces in half again. So you got a teeny tiny piece like that, and then even still little piece double-sided like that, right? Simply because I need to have ultimate control on this. I need to know where every single piece of surface of this thing is going, because I can't have this going off the rails, mucking up the satin that we've already done, because that looks good. I don't want to spray that again if I don't have to. So use a small piece. That's the key. All right, so let's rearrange things here so you guys can see a better vantage point here. There we go. Right. All right. So we got our little basin of water here. We got our little piece of sandpaper. Just dip that in there. Get that water nice and soaked on there, right? Kind of wring it out and then dip it back in, so nice and wet. All right. So now we go to work. We're just simply sanding it. Nothing crazy. Make sure you get up in here in the corners. Yeah, and I can already see that this is coming along nicely. Now, what we're doing is we're just basically scuffing up the clear coat. This is 2,000 grit. This isn't even enough to get any deeper, right? Unless you really apply pressure and you really stay on one spot for a very, very long time, which you shouldn't do. You should keep this sandpaper moving. All right, so we've done a little bit there. Let's wipe off the water and we'll check our work, right? Yeah, that's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. Let's So you can see how it's scuffed right in here, right? And you can see how that's starting to flatten out. You don't see that texture nearly as much as you do kind of down on the lower end, right? So this is just, you guys obviously can't feel this at home, but this is baby butt smooth right now. I mean, you could skate on that. It's so smooth. But we kind of keep going. Gamer Dude 1231. Thank you for the follow over there on good old Twitch. Welcome to the family. That's awesome. So let me get on camera here so you guys can see. So yeah, you guys, this is a simple fix. Just gotta be brave enough to do it, right? There's trepidation. Totally get it. Especially when you go at it at such a late stage in the game. Now, one of the biggest things is make sure you got water on this thing. The water, the moisture, is going to be your friend. That's what's going to give you just that super smooth finish that you want. And then obviously change up your directions to make it easier to sand as well. Alright, so we're just going to do this top section. I'm not going to do the whole thing, because that'll take a little while, right? Okay. And there, that is now nice and scuffed up. And as you can see, it didn't touch the paint. It didn't obscure the paint at all. It just scuffed up the clear coat, the gloss coat that was on here. And now this is super, super smooth. There's little tiny indentations of texture, but nothing crazy. You put a nice wet clear gloss coat on this, man, and this will be back to a glass finish in no time. So, you guys, if you run into this issue in your projects, now you know how to fix it. The key is water and a nice high grit sandpaper. Make sure it's waterproof too. Go at this thing. Make sure you use common sense. Keep that piece of paper moving, and then should be good to go. But once I get finished basically sanding this whole thing down, I'll tape off the gray parts, blast this thing with a nice heavy wet coat of high gloss. Yeah, it'll be back to a glass-like finish in no time. So there you go. That's how you fix glossing issues, guys. Alright, so we're going to get all this wet sanding stuff moved out of the way. Let's get started on scratch building, shall we? Okay, so, like I said, here kind of is the final render, if you will, of the mother of all heat hawks, right? So, this came out really nice. I'm still really, really happy with this, right? So we started off with that guy right there. Took it into outlines and then basically just kind of a mock-up of colors, right? Not sure if that's going to be the final colors or not, but I just wanted to throw on just some arbitrary colors just to, you know, kind of get some life into it, if you will. So I think it looks really, really good. I did increase the size of this kind of back portion here as opposed to what it was, just slightly. Nothing crazy, but I think it balances it out much better. Yeah. Ooh, Bailey with the nice name, the Mohawk. The Mohawk. Mother of all heat hawks. I like that. That's pretty good. That's strong. Yeah, that's a good one, Bailey. That's a good one. I like that. Chris R says, not going with the little handle there. You know, maybe. I don't know. I looked back at the original, and I was just like, you know, I don't know. It can always be something we add on, you know, near the finish, right? So I left it off of this particular render, but we can always go back to it. So not a big deal. Alrighty then. So with that being said, what we need are going to be a few different things. We are going to need some 1mm sheet right here. And then let's grab the stash of plastic strip over here. And we're going to need some 1x3.2. And let's get some 1x4 out there too. And that should be good for right now. That should be good for right now. Whoa! Hit the Zaku on the head. Let's see. Hey, Kira Yet is over there on Facebook. He says, about clearing the nub marks when I use the 1500 or 2000 grit, should I press it harder when clearing the nub marks or just use suitable force? Yeah, I mean, just use suitable force because as you increase in grits, it's going to... it's just going to be a finer finish. That's all. You don't have to apply any more pressure or anything like that. Just use a constant pressure. So, good. Ashkunami over there on Facebook, he says, you should call it the Mother Hawker. It's pretty good too. I don't mind that. That's pretty good. Oh, man. Dean's with us. He says, how many parts? Technically, 1. I don't know. And then, let's see. Dean says that's a whole lot of plastic. Oh, you don't even know, man. You don't even know. I got plastic for days, dude. Chris R says, no wonder my stores are always sold out. Tim buys the whole country supply out. Yeah, right? Maybe. All right, so with that being said, let's get to work, shall we? All right, so we're going to, I was hoping I could cut it this way, but this particular strip of plastic is not going to be large enough. So what we need to do here, there it is. All right, so we need to figure out dimensions here. Right? Right there. All right, so that blade is roughly 15 millimeters from the leading edge to the very back edge of that kind of boomerang upper side. So what we need, let's get the bigger T-square here. Let's make sure this edge is square. It is not, so we're going to trim this down a bit. Where's the utility knife? There it is. We need a new blade there. All right, so the cool thing about these Olfa utility knives, right, you take the back edge off, there's this little slit right here. That, you put your old blade in here. That's to snap it off. And there you go. You got a nice fresh blade ready to go. This puts off until later so we can dispose of it properly. But what we need here now on this side is a nice square edge so we can measure off of. Okay, and that should do it. Score and snap. Now that's a nice right angle. Perfect. Make sure this side is right as well. Yep, perfect. Okay, so now what we can do is we can flip this thing around and we can measure from this side, right? So we're looking at 15, which is right there. And let's see how long we need. Using the other T-square here, I can measure from the bottom. And we're looking at, let's see here, looking at 70, we'll call that 77 millimeters. So we're going to come down here, we're going to mark 77 right there. Score that. Pop that. Now we have a 77 millimeter long piece of strip there, and now we need to cut a 15 millimeter slice out of this thing. Just like this. There's your 15 millimeter slice. Now we want to do the same thing because this is going to be the blade is going to be 2 millimeters thick. So we're going to stack these two pieces here. Score and snap. And now these two pieces should be perfectly matched. And yeah, they're looking really good. Really good. Okay, so now we bring our drawing back in here and we can see that is looking pretty damn good. Nicely covers the lines, but yep, that is good. All right. So now we need to do a little bit more math. So we need to start shaping the blade. Okay. So we put our T-square on the leading edge of this blade. We come down, bring this edge to the tip of that blade. And now we see where this corner is. And this corner is right there at 24 millimeter. Okay? So now we transfer that over to one of the pieces. So we come down 24 millimeter. Make a mark. Now, we know that this corner, this top point right here, is on the very back edge of this plate, right? So now, all we have to do is connect this top edge to that marked point at 24 millimeter. And now we've got our leading edge. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, so now what we've got to do is we've got to calculate this point here in relation to this bottom point down here, right? So basically it's going to come up like that somehow. So what we'll do, same thing, t-square on the leading edge. And that looks to be about 18 millimeters up from that back corner. All right, so we'll come up 18 millimeters right there. Make our mark. Make sure 100% because that might not be 100% accurate. Let's see. Ah, good thing. No, it is not. It's not angled to that back corner. So what we'll do is we'll do a little bit more math here. That comes out from that back corner. How much? About 2.5 millimeter. Okay. So we need to make a mark. 2.5 right there. That now should be our perfect angle for this bottom edge. Okay, just like that. Okay, so there's that shape, right? Let's test it out. Let's get this lined up properly here. You know what? That doesn't look accurate. I think I measured up 2 millimeters too far. Well, damn it. Not a big deal, though. Not a big deal. What we can do, transfer, let's see, where's my block? Here it is. Nice 1, 2, 3 block to keep everything straight. Now what we'll do is we'll just simply transfer this angle onto that other strip, and then we'll work off this strip. There we go. Cool. All right, so now we can start to fix our mistakes here and see where that measuring snafu went wrong. Okay. So let's try this. Let's try this again here. Because I think I know I measured wrong. But let's see how wrongly I measured. So that's 18 millimeters, so that was correct. But did I come up 20 millimeters on here? I did not. Interesting. What seems to be going on there? Okay, well, let's come down 2 millimeters. We'll go 16 millimeters instead of 18 and see what that looks like. Right there. 2.5 millimeters from the back edge. Right there. Draw that line in there. Let's see. Let's compare what this looks like now. Let me see something here. There's our point right there. See, that's down even more. That's weird. Oh, I see what the problem is. I see now. This strip is a little too long. Yeah, this strip is about 1 millimeter too long this way. That's throwing us off. All of the other calculations were right, but that strip is 1 millimeter too long. So that definitely will throw the math off. So let's trim this down. All right, try that again. Yeah. Okay, cool. That definitely looks a lot better. Right there. All right, now I'm confident that we're in the right spot, that we have the right angles here. Let's cut this again and see if we're on the right track. Ah, yeah, there we go. Perfect. Boom. Like a glove. That's awesome. There we go. So now, all we've got to do is trace our shape again. Good. Okay. So now we should have two identical pieces. And there we go. Perfectly aligned. Easy. Let's see. What thickness? This right here that we're working with right now is 1 millimeter. So it's a good starting off point for structure, and you know, getting parts, kind of getting the geometry of parts, right? So we'll move into the thinner, you know, pieces and stuff like that later on in terms of detailing, adding armor and stuff like that. We'll get some tubes in the mix for especially like the pommel, and some of that. So yeah, but right now this is 1 millimeter. So good question, Billy. Dwight Xavier Sanson says, Gary, I'm here. What's up, Dwight? Thank you for watching. Let's see, Dean, 1 piece completed. Technically it's 2 pieces. So give me a little bit more credit, Dean. Come on, buddy. Let's get caught up here real quick. Let's see. Bailey says, if you ever see the Evergreen Odds and Ends bundle, buy it. Don't even hesitate. Yeah, no, Evergreen, man, I just love Evergreen plastic, man. The strips and everything. You can buy directly from their website, which is awesome and very convenient. And they usually have better prices on there than they do in, you know, most local hobby stores. Obviously, the hobby stores need to, you know, mark up their product for, you know, get some profit and stuff. That's part of the business, right? And you can never account for what's in stock at your local hobby store too. Now, if you're like me and you don't really have a local hobby store anymore, then that's perfect. But if you do have a local hobby store and you kind of are in that conundrum of whether you support your local or you go directly to the manufacturer, then I completely understand. You do what's best for you, right? But for me, I'm gonna go straight to the source. I've bought plastic from them many times before, and they are amazing. So I highly recommend buying directly from Evergreen. You know, Evergreen Plastics, Evergreen Scale Models. I think somebody posted the link down below. Oh, there it is. EvergreenScaleModels.com. Thank you, Chris R. Appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, I mean, it just comes in so many varieties, shapes, thicknesses, all that good stuff. You can buy sheets on there. Although the sheets are a little expensive, I would say, you know, maybe go elsewhere for sheets. But for strips, you know, and everything like that, that is the place, man. That is the place I go. Plastruct is another company, and I think Bailey had mentioned that a little bit, you know, just a little bit ago. But I find that their prices are a little bit higher. But the cool thing about Plastruct, and let me see if I have them around here, they make some amazing structural pieces, like these here, these kind of girder looking. What is this? Truss? Yeah, these are trusses. Sorry, girders. No, these are trusses in different scales, different sizes. These are really cool for connecting things to one another, structures and all that. But as you can see, you get 2 pieces in here. I paid $7 for this one little pack. This smaller pack, I paid $6.30. Obviously US dollars here, but you're not going to find this anyplace else, and I dare say you're going to scratch build it to the same quality that they can produce it here. So the price that you pay for it ultimately is worth it. So Yeah, evergreen for your standard strips and sheets and tubes and rods and things like that. Plastruct if you want to get super crazy and you really need some structural materials. Their market is more kind of engineering model makers and things for buildings and all. So, yeah, so that's what Plastruct, that's what their market more or less is. Hobby maker, hobby builders and stuff like that, tend to buy Plastruct for, dioramas and things. They carry, they also carry ABS strips, which Plastruct does not. Plastruct is strictly polystyrene. Yeah. Terry T, he just said, it took me 4 hours to scratch build trusses for my Haro Dio. Never again. I'll spend that $7. Dude, I know, right? If you guys knew the amount of time that would have taken to scratch build, and the intensity of thought and accuracy of cutting and everything, man, yeah, $7 is totally worth it. Totally worth your time. So there you go. But a little bit ago, Bailey said, I'm lucky to have a local that stocks most of everything. I just go when there's an exact measurement that I need right away. See, Plastruct has really interesting shapes because they are meant for architects building scale buildings. Exactly. Also, too, if you guys want to get into more kind of diorama type of things, and if you're looking for buildings, you don't want to necessarily scratch build, entire structures and buildings and things like that. Let's see, what is it? Micromark carries, I guess HO buildings would be the closest in scale to 1/100. There is a 144 scale. I forget the name, the letter designation. I think it's N, or maybe it's just O. I know one of you guys will know and put it in the chat and everything. Yeah, Plastruct is great when you need kind of diorama supplies. I mean, they make whole stair, like circular stair structures and things, which is pretty damn tricked out. And then obviously on Micromark they carry a ton of buildings. Now, if you're a stickler like me and you want to keep that scale, the 1/100 scale, there are places, especially on Taobao, where they make actual 1/100 scale buildings. And the cool thing is that they make pristine buildings, and then they make damaged buildings as well, which is kind of cool. So I've seen those in a bunch of different places. There's actually even a 1/100 scale overpass, like a bridged, kind of like a raised highway portion, which is really cool. And I think that would be amazing for some sort of diorama and stuff too. So yeah. Bailey says N scale is 1/160th. Okay. But Jeff Edge says N scale is 1/187th. Okay. I don't know. I'm not up on my train scales, people. So I knew there were other people in the chat smarter than me that would know. But Rob Ponte, what's up, Robbie? Gundam Taz, for those of you keeping score at home over there on Instagram, one of the four horsemen. He says, I picked up a copy of Styrene Modeling, How to Build, Paint, and Finish Styrene Models by Evergreen Scale Models. Nice. I have not seen that. I'll have to check that out. Terry T says, can those Taobao buildings be used for GBWC? That's a very good question. Based on last year, it's a question mark, at least in the US. Outside of the US, it probably shouldn't be an issue. But inside the US, fuck if I know. If it was me, I'd just put them in there and just go to town and have what may. But that's me. And then basically dare them to disqualify me, you know? Hey, what are you gonna do? So, you know, it's a toss-up. We gotta wait and see, especially here in the US, what's gonna happen. I don't know. But I do have it on good authority that there will be requested changes for the U.S. portion of GBWC. So we'll see if that manifests itself. So, sorry, I had to plug in my phone. Battery's getting low. Excuse me. So, question mark. Yeah, like Freddie says, rolling the dice with those. Yeah, you kind of do. Now, it would, part of me says, you know, they're just buildings. What's the problem with that? As long as your model is awesome and it's Bandai and everything like that, just like always. What's the problem, right? I don't know, man. I don't know. It shouldn't be that hard. Shouldn't be that fucking hard. It should be, the rules should be transparent. It should be easy to follow. And it should be understandable year by year. And they shouldn't really change that much. Similar to IPMS, sorry. Or even better, the Orizaku over there in Japan. If you guys are not familiar with the Orizaku competition, I incredibly highly recommend that you go and research that later this evening after the stream and take a look at that. That is a Japan-based, but just recently they've opened it up to some other Asian countries where they it's more similar to IPMS, if you guys are familiar with that. They look at the actual craftsmanship. That's what they hold as their pinnacle, rather than concept for GBWC. So, you know, it is what it is. So, all right. I know William says sending the whip Tim's way. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that, brother. I know you guys want to see me kind of bust into this, and we will definitely continue to bust into this. We still got an hour, and well, hell, who knows? We might continue going. We don't know. But Ultraman Dyna says, Tim, what are those Plastruct structures you showed us again? Chris R says trusses. Yep, that's what they're called. Yeah, trusses. Trusses, like Chris had said. Yep. Open Web Truss ABS. They also make polystyrene. This, don't get it twisted, they have both trusses on there. These are polystyrene. I made sure to get polystyrene too. You can tell by the difference in color. These are your normal white polystyrene, vanilla kind of look to it, right? The ABS, I think, are more of a, I think it's more of a gray color. So make sure if you get onto the Plastruct website, make sure you search out polystyrene because that will be a little bit easier to work with when you're scratch building things. So keep that in mind. Now, obviously, if you're using Plastic Magic, doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of difference because this stuff will glue pretty much any plastic together. No problem, right? So, there we go. Hey, Jeremy Chassan is over there on Facebook. He's asking Robbie if he's got a link. I would imagine evergreenscalemodels.com, just their, Evergreen Plastics, homepage. It'll probably be in their book section, I would imagine. But Robbie says, pretty good read. I love how modelers back in the day thought that styrene was for toys, and real modelers use wood. Huh. That's funny, actually. That's a funny type of comment. There's something to be said about still using wood and stuff like that in creating structures and things, right? Yeah, I mean, like for my bases, I still use MDF as kind of the core, right? And then wrap plastic around that to make it a little bit easier to detail and stuff. But in terms of building shapes and structure, I don't see anything wrong with still using wood or MDF or balsa or what have you. Yeah, so there you go. My 2 cents. Anyway, back to work here, shall we? I know Dean and William over there on YouTube are keeping score, so we got to get this going here, right? So now what we need to do is we need to cut this back edge off of this sheet, and I think that was another place that I screwed up because in terms of no, I didn't. I made it was what, 2.5 millimeter? Yeah, 2.5 millimeter. And let's see, how far does that come down though? That comes down 16 millimeters from that top point. So right about there. That's where that's where the cut is going to start. Okay, right there. And now we need to figure this point there. So that looks to be about just a hair over 20 millimeter. So what we can do is measure down from there. So right there, and we connect these 2 points. And there, whoops, sorry about that, you guys. Zoomed in a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better what we're doing. So that now you can see our kind of boomerang edge up here, right? So Jeremy over there on Facebook, he says, "Sup, Tim, and thanks." Trying, man, trying. Let's see. There we go. Jeff Edge posted that link over here on good old YouTube's Evergreen Scale Models, that book. Mikkel down there on Facebook said, "Tim, why didn't you print out the axe in parts to make it easier to transfer over to cut it out?" That's a very good question. Mainly because I didn't do that. I just kind of created shapes to basically clean up the math, then the angles and stuff like that. And then I just cut it out by hand. Spider2K2 James over there said a little bit before, "I will say something in about 59 minutes that is life-changing to me." Ruh-roh. Interesting. Alrighty then. Hey, Captain Weirdbeard is over there reporting for duty, sir. Yo, I'm late. Did I miss any plastic yet? Yeah, you did. We're cutting his blade down, dude. Cutting his blade down. So let's make sure this is still 2.5 millimeters. That's looking pretty good. Yep, cool. All right, so now what we can do is lay our T-square right up against that line, right there. Oh, and hey, Mikkel, I didn't mean to leave you hanging before. I know we were talking a lot today. I got bombarded with calls, and that's why I didn't respond anymore. So I apologize about that, dude. Didn't want to think I was ignoring you or anything. Okay, so there is our straight cut. Now we need to do this tiny little angle cut. So now with that, easiest thing that I'm gonna say is just to use your chisel blade here, and just come down and guillotine that sumbitch right down into the plastic, right? So now we snap that off. Let's compare notes. This should be bang on perfect. Boom. Look at that. Perfect. Perfect angles. Perfect measurements. That's what I want. That's what I want. So now, to duplicate this, bring in our 1, 2, 3 block. Super useful, by the way, especially these solid ones. These solid ones are worth, I mean, these things are heavy pieces of steel. Now, the reason why they're called 1, 2, 3 blocks is 1, 2, 3 inches. 1, 2, 3 blocks. And they're mainly used by machinists and stuff like that. But they come in very handy when you're trying to keep stuff parallel and straight and all that. I highly recommend them. You can find them on the Amazon link just below if you are looking for something like that. But and if you really want to get crazy with these 1, 2, 3 blocks, you can use magnets to hold pieces, right? So say you want to glue these two pieces at a perfect 90-degree angle. You can hold this piece in place right there against the edge with some magnets. Turn that over, glue that piece right up to it. You have a perfect 90-degree angle. So there you go. That's what I do. Okay. Now we're going to come down again and guillotine this part right. Cha. And now, since we scored this, this should be able to bend and snap right off. And what I'm using here are just kind of flat-nosed pliers, just kind of miniature flat-nosed pliers, which makes gripping these shorter spans of plastic a whole lot easier. Okay. Sweet. And there we go. There, ladies and gentlemen, is your blade shape. Yeah. There we go. Cool. So now, we know this is 2 millimeters. We're going to move on to the blade cradle. So let's see, this long portion here, right? That's what we're going to make next. Now, we know, like I said, that this blade is 2 millimeters thick, right? So we could, and we will, use a 2 millimeter strip to back as the backing of this blade cradle. And I'm just kind of trimming just some excess here just to get these two pieces nice and flush. Another good use for this chisel blade. That's good enough for right now, though. All right, so let's see. We've got 4 millimeter. We got 3.2 millimeter. I know I have 1x2 over here in the scrap stash. Just gotta find it. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Damn it, where is it? Hang on. Is that it? That looks like 3.2. Yeah, that's 3.2. We'll still use that. We'll still need that. Here's 3.2 as well. But we need 2 millimeters. This is 2 millimeters, but it's half mil. That's 2.5. Okay, no, that's not what we want. All right, well, we're gonna have to pull out the stash again. Let's see. These are all 0.5, 0.2, 0.75, 1 by 1, 1 by 2. There we go. So we'll pull a new strip out of this, just like that. Put that back in its place. Now, for those of you watching at home, yes, I have a ton of styrene, strip styrene, built up, obviously, over the years, right? 0.25 up to 0.5 or half millimeter, and then 0.75, and then 1 millimeter. Those are your 4 main thicknesses of styrene strip, or at least in evergreen. Now, they do make other size strip in terms of railroad scales, but I like the millimeter versions, the 4 thicknesses though. So Jeremy Chasson says, is that chisel found on your Amazon link as well? It is. Yeah, it's these little Olfa chisel blades, man. I love these things. These come in very, very handy. Multiple uses. So yes, that is in the Amazon link. That side, because you're on Facebook. So yeah, it's definitely on there. Definitely on there. Let's see. Space Rat 53, I want to reinforce the cockpit hatch on a GM Kai. What sort of putty should I use to fill it in so I can put a piece of armor plate over it? Ooh, you are speaking my language, Space Rat. There's only one putty that I really recommend. And for those of you watching, for those of you that have been watching, and Bailey just said it, boom. Tamiya epoxy putty, quick type. Make sure you get the quick type. They also make the fine. I don't recommend that. I do not recommend that at all. Let's see, here it is. Yeah, the smooth surface. This stuff. I don't like this stuff. This is so much better. This is the stuff that you want to get, because when this cures, it cures almost to the same density as Bandai plastic. So this is the stuff. And I don't know why they differentiate that as smooth surface, because you can get this almost to a mirror polish just with sanding alone. So I don't understand why they call that smooth surface, or they make the, you know, differentiation. It's stupid, but yeah. Like Bailey said, Tamiya quick type. It's the best stuff. It's the best stuff. Freddie Torres, before, he says, hey kids, feels your balls so you don't get the cancer. Yeah. Well. Anyway, Chris R says, what about Tamiya Basic? You mean like the filler putty? Like the contour putty and stuff? Yeah, basic. There you go, Bailey. Thank you. Bailey says Tamiya Basic is just for minor filling in. So it's basically like your Tamiya kind of filler putty, like, you know, your white putty and stuff, for very, very minor surface deformations and stuff like that. But hell, I've even moved on from that. I've moved on from, you know, filler putty to just using super glue for filling in, you know, minor, you know, things on the surface. So, yeah. Scuffle says, Tim, I don't see evergreen styrene sheets or the pre-cut strips. If they're there, I'm sorry, but if they're not, can you please add them? Oh, okay, so good. Thank you, Scuffle. Good question. They have some on Amazon, but I don't recommend buying evergreen plastics on Amazon. I recommend buying them directly from the source, directly from Evergreen Scale Models. Yeah, they don't have nearly the selection that they do when you buy directly from the source. So what I would say is to not worry about Amazon when it comes to buying plastic strips and stuff like that. Go directly to Evergreen. So yeah, that's what I would suggest. Yeah, see, look at Bailey says, use CA glue instead. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So, you guys, let's talk about this blade cradle here, shall we? So, like I said, we know this blade thickness is 2 millimeter. We have a 2 millimeter dimensional strip here. So, this will create the back edge of this cradle. Now, what we have to do is make the sides. The sides will glue onto the side of this, and then that will neatly slot over the blade when it's all said and done. So, easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? As they say. Let's get some measuring done because that's going to be important. So, cradle length is 50. We're going to call that 52 millimeters. 52 millimeters. And for shits and giggles, let's check the dimensional width of it here too. We might be able to get away. Oh yeah, we're gonna get away with using 4 millimeter strip there, and then we'll glue on those points afterwards, and I'll show you how to do that. That's because that's actually super simple. So now what we need is we need to put the little Zaku up here with his buddies guarding the, and he's a one-handed Zaku, so stay. Trust me, you're better off up there. We need to pull out our good friend, boom, the chopper, right? So what we need is we need a 52 millimeter strip. We actually need 2 of those, identical widths. So let's see. Use the L square here, the Zona L square, and we measure from the blade 52 millimeters, and we'll lock in our stop block here at 52 millimeters. Crank that down nice and tight so it doesn't go anywhere. And then with, this is 3.2, we need 4 millimeter strips. We're going to pull one out of the good old bag here. And first thing we got to do is got to make sure this end is perfectly straight. So we cut off the tip just a little bit. And we'll pop that over. That's 52 millimeters. Cut that. Let's do another one. Cut that. And there we go. Now we've got our 4 millimeter sides. Put the chopper off to the back here. So now we come back to the drawing, right? And we look and we line this up. That dead on, right? Dead on. Perfect. Perfect. Space Rat 53 asks, what does CA stand for? Cyanoacrylate. Or in more common terms, super glue. Now, when we're talking about super glue, you guys know there's only one super glue for me. This stuff right here. This stuff. Loctite Ultra Liquid Control. Now, it's the only one I ever recommend. It's the only one I probably will ever recommend, honestly. Gary Gumpla. About time you subscribed, Gary. Disappointed in you, Gary. Should have happened a long time ago. But hey, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm fucking with you. Welcome officially to the family. Appreciate that, buddy. So yeah, so CA glue, cyanoacrylate. Yep. Super glue. Get you some Loctite Ultra Liquid Control. You won't regret it. That's what I use to fill in a lot of the surface details on the Jesta, especially that kind of visor thing where he had the 4 circular indents. Filled that with super glue. Didn't use anything else. Worked perfectly. Filled it in nice and flush, smooth. You can't even tell. It's like nothing. Look at that. Right along in here. There were 2 circular indents right here, right? And there were 2 over on this side. Oh, yeah, I was on Twitch. My bad. Sorry, Gary. Sorry about that, buddy. I didn't know that was a Twitch subscribable. Thank you even more for that. Appreciated. Legend. Hardly. Let me win GBWC Worlds, and then maybe we can make an argument for that. But until that time, nah, I'm not a legend. Nope, I'm just a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. Anyway. So, yeah. So, the CA glue, the cyanoacrylate, the Loctite Ultra Liquid Control is amazing. It sands down great. It scribes wonderfully. I can't say enough good things about it. So if you need a great CA glue for gluing, it's amazing in and of itself there. But then also for filling in surface, deformations and things like that. So yeah. All right. So then we look at the thickness of this strip compared to there. That's dead on too. So that's perfect. Perfect. So now what we need is a 2mm, and I should have done this before. We need 2mm cut to 52 millimeters as well. Let's get that done real quick. Pop that. And so now we've got the two sides in the back. Easy. Easy stuff, right? Easy stuff. So now what we do, we need a little piece down at the bottom here. I'm not pointing with a freaking razor blade. That's stupid. We need a piece down here for the bottom. We need a piece for this leading front right there for the cradle. So we'll need to find out the dimensions of those, right? Space Rat 53 says, yeah, I'm working on a tools and supplies shopping / birthday request list. I love it. That's awesome, dude. Gary over there on Twitch, he says, you are to me. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. A little bit ago, Scoville asked, hey, Tim, when I use the stop block, I put in a small spacer between it and the piece being cut if I'm doing multiples. I noticed that if you butt up the piece, the stop block moves about just a tiny bit. Yeah, if you don't crank that sucker down, it will definitely move. But it's not been a huge issue for me. Because, like I said, I really crank that sucker down and make it stay in place. Now, you can get a little bit of flex in the plastic, but again, you're going to sand this down to your final dimensions anyways. So a little bit of variation in terms of cutting accuracy, I don't feel is a huge issue, but that's just me. So, but that is a good point. That is a very good point. So, yeah. Freddie Torres got to get that Loctite sponsorship deal. Dude, can you imagine that if I did? What? They wouldn't sponsor me, though. They wouldn't. I don't think they would. I don't know. Maybe you should work on that for me, Freddie. You can be my agent or something. Hey, new follower, Phoenix01 over there on Twitch. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the follow, and welcome to the family. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. So, okay, so now, like I said, we've got to find these two dimensions for these two bottom pieces here, right? So this front edge looks to be about 4 millimeters, so that's good. And this one is, well, hell, that's 4 millimeters too. How do we luck out on that? Like, really? All right. So anyways, so I'm going to show you a trick here now with the chopper. Let's get zoomed out just a little bit so you can kind of see the full bed of the chopper here, okay? So what I like to do, instead of trying to measure 4 millimeters over, you have this 4 millimeter strip, right? Why not use that and make your work easier? So what I do is I loosen the stop block up, and then I push that strip with the stop block all the way up until it touches the blade nice and tight, and then I lock down that stop block, lift the arm, take that away. Now you have a perfect 4 millimeter gap between the blade and the stop block that you can cut out of your strip, right? So we need 2 millimeters because that's going on the inside. So we're gonna do 1. What? No. That'll go on the inside. And then we'll do 2. Alright, cool. So now, the last part of this equation is, or are, the two 45-degree points here, right? These two. Boom, boom. So that, I believe, looks like 4 millimeter as well. Yeah, and look at that. That's a 4 millimeter point. So it just kind of happened this way. It makes it easy, right? So we bring in the chopper yet again, but this time we need the other guide. We need the 45-degree, which is this side here. You flip that over, pop that all the way up until it touches the blade, lock that into place, unscrew that, and now we're just going to cut a small triangle off of this 45 or this 4 millimeter. Just like that, and then we'll just glue that on to the strip to make that piece. So again, very simple, very simple. Excuse me. Scuffle, LOL. Top of his head is blocking the camera every time. Like this? Like every time? My bad, dude. I will try to pull back my big dumb head from the camera. I've got to look and actually see what's going on, like this. Hey, everybody. Oh, hi. Sorry, you guys. So now you've got this strip now cut at a 45-degree angle. So now what you can do, you can take that stop block out, and then you can just cut this straight down, just like that. And now you've got your second triangle, right? Pretty simple stuff. So now we collect the pieces and we glue it up. But first, we need 2 more triangles because we've got the other side to worry about too. So we'll cut that triangle right there. All right, so we got 2 more triangles there. Easy stuff. Easy stuff. Whoops. Okay, so now we've got all these pieces here, all these little bitty pieces, and I just realized I just cut off the triangles from one of the sides. Whoops. Not a big deal though. Now, how would you replicate this perfectly, right? You can measure it. Still wouldn't be perfect, right? Use the same technique that we did before, but the stop block up there, crank that sucker down, and you just cut another piece. Just like that. And so now we've got two identically length piece. So hopefully I don't cut into that one. Alright, so now we've got all of our pieces here for this blade cradle, right? Excuse me. Now we assemble. So, to do this, excuse me, I am actually going to, let's see, what do we want to use in this at this point? Yeah, let's use this. Let's use that. Freddie, you're working on that sponsorship deal for me, right? I appreciate that, dude. Freddie's gonna be my agent, you guys. Gonna get all the sponsorship deals for me from these companies. Nah. Alright, so we're gonna put all these little bitty pieces off to the side here, and we're gonna pull back in our big old 1, 2, 3 block, right? We're gonna set one side to the back edge of that. And then a nice bead of super glue right down the edge. Just like that. And now, we place this ever so carefully. And what you can do, since these 1, 2, 3 blocks, they come in pairs all the time, you can get your other one out and then press these two pieces together, and then that will equally distribute the pressure across this entire piece, right? That looks pretty good. Pretty good. Like it. I like it. All right. Put that off to the side there. Place our bottom there. Now keep in mind, all of this will have to be finish sanded and basically honed into its final shape with sanding and files and stuff like that. Working with this small a plastic, it's going to be really, really hard to get perfect shape right out of the gate. So keep that in mind. Freddie Torres says, hashtag influencer. That's you, man. That one's you. That one's on you. Oh, man. Let's see. Scuffle says, I drape a paper towel over the chopper to prevent things flying and smacking my wife in the eye. Jesus. Yeah, dude, because it will launch some plastic. That's for damn sure. Chris R says, are you going to use little metal dowels to replicate the bolts? No, probably just use Kotobukiya, little round shapes and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's probably what I'll use. And if I get really squirrely, I've got some little 1mm kind of pieces that I can use, or 2mm even. But I don't know if I'm gonna get that fancy, right? So, let's see. So they're in the same place on both sides. You know, I'm not overly worried about perfect placement. To the naked eye, it'll be perfect. It might be a 1/4 millimeter off here or there. So I'm not gonna really worry about that too much. But yeah. Let's see. Scuffle says you should contact the channel that does the King of Random. They were able to get a gallon bottle of CA glue for a few of their videos. What? That's crazy. Bailey says armor modelers use some really nice looking resin casted bolt heads. Yeah, they do. Saki Yard Hendren says wave bolts. Yeah, wave O bolts. I like the little Kotobukiya, just their little round, the non-minus mold kind of, I guess, caps, if you will. I like those a lot, but that's just me. Carlo Castro over there on YouTube, he says, hey Tim, happy Friday. What's going on, Carlo? Thank you for tuning in. We are beginning scratch building on this mother of all heat hawks, or the Mohawk, or Mohawker, as Bailey and I think it was Jeremy over there on Facebook had suggested. Good names all around, I think. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to glue on one of these triangles here. And what we're going to do is just to pop these on, just kind of flushed up right there on the side. But to do that, we need to make sure that there's no glue in this corner. So we're just going to trim that back just a bit. Now that should be good and flush. And it is. That looks nice. Okay, so now what we can do is pop a little super glue on this bottom edge. Just like that. That's nice and flat in there. Apply some pressure. And there we go. There's our first corner, our first angled piece on that side. We're going to apply the other side here now before we move on. That, lay that right down on the surface of the 1, 2, 3 block. Make sure that it's nice and flat up against that piece, and then we apply some pressure. Try to get that excess squeeze out of super glue, and then we twist to release. That, my friends, are your 2 points on the side of the blade cradle. Now we throw that off to the side there. Now we've got this bottom edge, we've got our point on the bottom of the blade cradle here, and that's what we're building out here at this point. We're building this this bottom edge right now. So we've got to put this facing angle on here. So to do that, we need to do a little bit of mock-up before we move much further, right? So this blade is going to go in here like that. And I think what we're going to have to do we're going to have to trim about 1 millimeter off the edge of this back end here. So let's do that right now so we can mock this up a little bit better, right? So we're just gonna eyeball this and pop off about 1 millimeter, just like that. And then now that should line up a little bit better. Let's see. Let's do the same thing here real quick to the other piece, just so we can have consistency, right? Just like that. And then looks like we still need to come up a little bit more on the bottom edges of these things. Not a big deal. Okay. So now let's see where we are with this. Yeah, much better. That's exactly where we need to be. Booyah. And did I did I do this? Did I do the head thing? Sorry if I did. Bad habit. Let's see. Gary over there on Twitch, he says, are you going to use itching as well? Itching? Like itching? I don't know. Jay Lynch, Tim, what is the name of those tweezers? I found reverse and cross tweezers. They seem to be the same. These are very old. But I love these things so much that I actually bought a second pair, and that's what these are. These are by Ek Tools, EKTOOLS. And I'm going to tell you what, these are just perfect for me, because they come with this little plastic protector, and I'll show you real quick what the tips of these things look like, because I have the ones that I use kind of ground down, right? These are highly ground down and scraped down the whole 9 yards. Let's get this over on the white section so you can see a little bit better contrast. So as you can see, there's no more paint on this. This is what they look like kind of fresh out of the package, and I just kind of sanded and filed these down over the years to get them to a very sharp point. You don't want to get stabbed by these. I'll tell you that right now, right? But yeah, these are by Ek Tools on Amazon. I think these were $5-8, something like that. They're great. They're absolutely great. So highly recommend them. Highly recommend them. All right, so you guys, we've got our cradle coming into shape here. This is looking super nice. Let me take my fingers off here, and you can kind of see the mock-up. So there's that, right? And then we move that up. And you can see how it's starting to take shape, right? So very good stuff. So we're going to put this off to the side. Let's do a time check. 11:46. Cool. So we still got plenty of time. Still got plenty of time. Real quick, let's go through some comments here. Hasaki, are you going to make it removable or glued on? For right now, for ease of painting, I'm going to leave the blades out. I'm going to obviously glue these together. Excuse me, sharpen the edges and everything. But I'm going to leave these out initially, and then once everything is painted up, because I want to do, you know, kind of that heat gradient, kind of glowish look on these. And it's just going to be easier if I can do it all in one piece and I don't have to mask off or anything like that. So I'm going to leave these off initially, but then once final assembly comes into play, yeah, I'm going to glue those down just nice and solid. So that's why we're kind of building the cradle like we are at this point, right? So, all right. So now, like I said, we need to get this front edge of the cradle made. So we've got to bevel that front piece there. So we're just going to come in with our straight, with our chisel blade, and we're just going to do kind of a bevel. We're just eyeballing it at this point, and we'll see what that looks like here. I'm going to try not to get my big head in the way. I can't guarantee anything. Let's see. J-Lynch, perfect. Reverse action tweezers. Yeah, that's basically what they are. More head blocking camera action, Tim. Like this. I get, see, look, I can get my whole head up in there. Look at that. That's nice. Nice. Let's see. Bailey says, yeah, executioner, because impaling would be more akin to a spear. Yeah. Carlo Castro, Tim, what did you use for the colored mock-up? Adobe Illustrator. So, took this into Adobe Illustrator, scanned the original plastic drawing, the one we did the other night, scanned this, and then just basically took it into Illustrator and cleaned up the math on the angles and the, you know, made sure the lines were straight and everything like that. Corners were 90 and parallel and all that good stuff. So yeah, Adobe Illustrator is what I use. Now you can use other programs, like there's you know, the free program GIMP that I think does like vector graphics. I'm not sure. I've never used it simply because I've got the whole Adobe suite for you know, for my work and everything. So that's what I've kind of always used. But I think there are definitely some free programs out there that you can use to make vector graphics. Now, if you guys have never worked with vectors before, it's a learning curve. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's a learning curve to it, but once you get it, it all just clicks and it's very, very simple to use. And hell, I like Illustrator over Photoshop, to be quite honest with you. So, especially when it comes to drawing things like this. So, there you go. Let's see. Edwin RSA, what's going on, Edwin? He says, smart design, you don't have to squeeze to hold the parts. Yeah. Scuffle, just leave it detached and have a container full of extra blades like in Attack on Titan. That's kind of interesting, right? That's kind of an interesting take on it. Yeah. Let's see. Bailey says that's just an Olfa utility blade. Oh, yeah, well. Yeah, right? It kind of is. Yeah. It kind of looks like it, right? Ultimate Dyna, does anybody have any experience with Deluxe Materials Perfect Plastic Putty? Say that 3 times fast. I've heard that it's actually pretty good. I've never used it myself, so take that with a grain of salt. So, I don't know, maybe take a chance on it and see what happens. Bailey says, good question. I want to know as well. My local just got a bunch. Yeah, excuse me, the perfect plastic putty from Deluxe Materials. I mean, Deluxe Materials makes some really good stuff anyway, so I would not expect their perfect plastic putty to be any different. So yeah, I mean, take a chance on it. Ask some people, especially if you have a local that carries it like Bailey does. See what people say. But I've heard from other people that it's pretty decent. Now, one that I've heard is actually spectacular, but it's very hard to find, is, or at least it was around here, is Vallejo putty. Their stuff seems to be pretty damn good. I've never used it, but for what it's worth, I've heard it's pretty damn good. Now, this is all filler putty, guys. And you know me with filler putty. I don't use filler putty. I don't like filler putty. Fuck filler putty. I'll just use my Loctite and sand it smooth. Excuse me. Jeremy Christopher Russell says over there on Facebook, he says, sorry, came in a little late. Hope all is well. Absolutely, Jeremy. Thank you for coming in and watching. Appreciate that, brother. We're scratch building the mother of all heat hawks, or the I happen to like Mohawk. I think who was it? Jeremy Shasan over there on Facebook. What did he say? Was it? No, Ashkan Hami over there on Facebook. He said the Mother Hawker, which I thought was good too. But actually, I think I'm leaning toward the Mohawk. I do like that. The Mohawk. Mother of all heat hawks. I like the sound of that. The Mohawk. That's a good one, Bailey. Credit to you, fine sir. You're over there, he says, GIMP is raster only, but you can make vector type image if you try hard enough. Okay. Bailey says, but it seems to just be a water-soluble acrylic putty like Vallejo Missilia Plastica. Interesting. So there we go. And now we know. Gary Gumpla, I've missed his comment from before, but he says, are you going to use photo etch on this? Oh man, I kind of want to try and develop my own photo etch, like I said on the last stream, but man, with the time crunch on this thing, even with it being now February, there's no time for me at all to dick around with this thing, so to speak. So I don't know. I'd love to. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to. I'd love to put LEDs in this thing. This thing is just so... It's very aggressive. And it's a big project for me. So I don't know if I'm going to have time. So we'll see. Throat is getting dry. Sound like an old New York lady that smokes 40 packs a day. Oh, hello. How are you? Not me, buddy. Not me. All right, so let's get this glued down, shall we? All right, so we need to pop some glue right here on this beveled edge, and then on the side, just a wee little bit. Just kiss it with a little glue, right? Just a little bit. And then let's get this lined up properly here. Now, the cool thing about using super glue for these little fiddly parts is that any gap you might have, it will fill in beautifully. It will fill that gap in very nicely. And basically become a filler putty for you. Especially if if it squeezes out and everything, and you're looking pretty good. So that's looking nice. Looking nice, right? Let's see. Bailey says, point being, the Vallejo stuff is very smooth and easy to use, but then you wash your parts before to putty work. Yeah, there you go. Jeremy Christopher Russell will check in later having issues. Rock and roll, Jeremy. Thank you anyway. Scuffle says, taste the soup. Taste the soup. I don't know what that is, but it just sounded funny. Spider2K2, James 2, he says, oh god damn, I'm getting PTSD from today. I had a lady like that at work. Oh god. Sorry, man. Ah, come on, James, let's go. You gonna drive me in the ambulance. Gotta go to my appointment. Oh, so good. So good. All right, so... Ah, there it is. I thought I lost one of these other little triangles here for the other side. So let's glue these... let's glue these triangles onto this side, and then we'll put everything together, and then we'll see kind of what we got here, right? Because this should come out rather well, because this is, like I said, it's 2 millimeter thick, and everything should line up. Should. I think we're gonna have to get a little, maybe trim things back just a little bit on this blade, just to make it fit nice and snug in there. But it looks like everything is matching up, and we're gonna have to come in and kind of remove the glue out from this inside edge to make these fit nice and neat as well. But that's part of the process, you guys. That's part of the process, right? Nice. Couple says it's a joke from Eddie Murphy movie. Taste the soup? Oh, from yeah, from Coming to America, the older Jewish character. Taste the soup. I don't want to taste the soup. Taste the soup. No, taste the soup. Yeah, I remember that. That was good. Such a classic movie, by the way. That boy good. Spider2K2, James says, oh, we already read that, the lady from today. Yeah. Sorry, I lost my space here. Bailey says, no soup for you. Spider2K2, James says, that's it, I'm jumping off the Brooklyn Bridge. Kidding, of course. That's what that little old lady probably did. Ah, I'm gonna jump off the Brooklyn Bridge if you don't take me to my appointment. Oh, man. Fun times. Billy says, I'm saying because I hope that was not your announcement, right? For real, man. Julius Dembski, any technique to keeping the super glue tip clean to prevent it from getting glue to its cap? It happened to me. Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I just leave the cap off. And you'll have glue. It's not even on camera here. You'll have glue obviously settle into the the hole and everything like that. Keep one of one of these sewing pins handy, just one of these things, and you can get a ton of these at your local craft store. These have double purpose. You can use one of these and poke that hole open in that super glue tip, but then also you can cut the tops off of these and use them as nice little metal details. That's what I do. So double purpose there. Scalpel says, ma'am, there's some... Oh, and this is in parentheses, so I think I should read it in that voice. Ma'am, there's some... Oh, no, maybe. Hold on. Let me read it before I read it. Ma'am, there's something wrong with my soup. Oh, yeah. Ma'am, there's something wrong with my soup. Taste the soup. Is it cold? Is it spicy? Taste the soup. Yeah. Okay, where's the spoon? Aha! Yes. I love that. He was trying to tell the joke to the other two guys. Spire2K2. Not yet, Bailey. 3 minutes. Uh-oh. Oh, look. It's 12 o'clock. Come on, James. Don't keep us waiting. Bailey says, Julie Stamsky, not really. Just cut the tip down once in a while. Yeah, that too. Zyfan over there on Twitch. He says, hi, Tim. What's up, Zyfan? Let's see. Spider2K2, well, now for the big announcement. It's now midnight, and it's officially February 2nd. I'm no longer 35 years old. You guys, it's James' birthday. All right, so everybody in the YouTube chat, wish James a happy birthday. 3, 2, 1, go. Happy birthday, James. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you for watching on your birthday too. Sort of. Scuffle says, at an old job, we used to put the CA glue into a metal-tipped squeeze bottle, and then when it gets clogged, we take a lighter to the tip and squeeze it. Yeah, that's a good but dangerous kind of process. But yeah, it's definitely a way to do it. Because have you ever seen the little metal applicators? There's little kind of like they almost look like little bobby pin heads or something like that for the teeny tiny super glue applicators. That's basically what you do. You take a lighter to it and you burn off the super glue from the tip, and then you just reuse it again. So yeah, nice. You guys are coming through for James. Look at that. Happy birthdays all around. Happy birthday. Nice. Happy birthday, James. Thank you for spending it with us, man. It means a lot. It does. That means a lot. Excuse me. All right. So, you guys, I want to get this cradle finished up on stream tonight. So, let's do this, shall we? While everybody continues to wish James a happy birthday. Ooh, nope, bad placement there. Bad placement. Oh. Yeah, right there. That's good. Ah, come on. All right, so now we'll put it on there. Awesome. Dude, no, man. James says, sorry for stealing your stream, Tim. No, man. Absolutely not. Don't be sorry. It's your birthday, brother. That's what that's what we're all here for, man. We're all here for each other, right? I'm just kind of the master of ceremonies is all. I'm the head crazy, right? So, nah, don't apologize at all, dude. It's a good thing. James says, thanks, guys. I don't have any plans, really. Just get beer and play cards at a place called Thirsty Dice in Philadelphia. Hey, you know what, man? It's your day. Do what the fuck you want to do, man. Let's see. Scuffle says, I knew there had to be a special occasion for Tim to lay down so much styrene in one stream. Spider2K2. Scuffle, how many parts has he trimmed? 7. 7? Nah, dude. So we got what? Let's do a parts count, shall we? We got 1, 2. We've got, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. Give me a little credit. Come on now. Give me a little credit. Snap that off. Good placement. Nice and flat. Perfect. Perfect. Boom. All right, let's do the same thing to this other side here. Woo. Not on the opposite edge. That would be bad. That placement good, right? Get this on the 1, 2, 3 block. Press it down and apply pressure. Spin to release. And there we go. Ooh. Oh, no. Stay right there. No, hold on. Oh, you son of a bitch. We'll apply a little bit more pressure because that didn't adhere. There we go. Let's see. Well, I did come in late. Oh, that's okay. That's okay, Scuffle. I'm not gonna hold it against you. Spare2K2, ouch, Scuffle, we got told. And I wasn't counting the blades. Tim 1, Jersey 0. Yeah. No. I kid. I kid. Oops. All right. So now we've got the other side of the blade cradle here, right? So let's mock this up. Let's see if we've got matchy here. Ooh, yeah, look at that. It's looking pretty nice. That's looking pretty nice. I dig it. That's not bad at all. Yes, sir. All right. Let's get this on a flat surface here. Now let's really kind of see where we are with this thing. Not bad. There's definitely going to be a bit of trimming down here at the bottom, a bit of shaping and filing and stuff like that. So that's going to have to be done. But again, with teeny tiny parts in here, it's just basically what you got to do. It's what you got to do. Oh man, Julius Dembski says, I'm sorry to say I'm going to have to put my kit building on the back burner for 8 months. Once a month for 3 days, I will be going to SoCal for training, which requires a lot of reading and essays. Damn, Julius. Well, you know what, dude? Handle your business. That's more important. It's more important. We'll be here. Come hang out with us, even if you don't build. Come hang out with us. But Gary over there on Twitch, he says, I love that chopping board. Which is a 1 2 3 block, man. That's all that it is. All that it is. All right. So let's do a little bit of cleanup with this guy. So let's see. We're gonna pull out. We're gonna get the good old 1.5 millimeter chisel, and we're just going to come in here and kind of just scrape down the inside edges of this thing so that any sort of minuscule glue squeeze out gets taken out, gets scraped away. And that's just simple cleanup. Especially here in the corner, because I can definitely see some little bit of squeeze out right there in the corner. But now that looks pretty good. Remember, chisel discipline. Haven't said that in a while, have we? Remember that. That's an important thing, you guys. Chisel discipline. All right. So there's that. It's looking pretty good. Let's see something here. There it is. There's our angle finder. I want to make sure that we are at a 45. So let's get this thing locked in there. Cool. So that right there, perfect 45-degree angle, like the gauge says, right? This bottom, not so much. Now, see how it's going together here in the blade cradle? This angle here is a bit off from there. Whoops. And it's not coming all the way down into the blade cradle. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little impromptu modification to this, right? Which will ultimately shorten the blade. Well, no, it won't shorten the blade. It'll just shorten that edge, that one edge, just slightly. Right? So take our utility knife, just start to slice into this, and then when we go to assemble, that will fit into the cradle like a glove. Hopefully. We'll see, right? All right. So now, that looks pretty good, but I think we need to shorten that bottom edge just a bit. So we're going to pop off 1 millimeter to start with, because we want to sneak up on this. Ooh, but that's so close, you guys. Look at that. That's really close right there. There's just a teeny tiny gap right there. And we're just going to trim back just a hair more on this, just in an effort to match this thing up. So we're going to cut maybe, I don't know, maybe that's a 1/4 millimeter off of there. Boom. Now we're in business. Now we're in business. That fits super nice in there. There we go. Now we can get my fingers out of the way. Yeah. Of course it wants to focus on my fingers. Stupid. Yeah. Nice. That's what we like. That's what we like. Okay, so next thing we got to do is match up the blade pieces here, right? So we're going to cut this down first. And chisel blade the bottom edge, just like that. Cool. So now, let's see if that mocks up rather well. Yeah. Yeah. Much better. Much better. There's not as much... One thing that I'm noticing is there's not as much gap here as there is here. So it does ultimately shorten the blade a little bit, but I'm not really opposed to that at this point. It shortens up the blade by about 1 millimeter or 2. I'm not really overly concerned with that. You see? So there's more of a gap on the line art between the top of the cradle and this inside edge here. There's only about 1 millimeter space there, but again, I'm not worried about that. I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with that, right? So, yeah, I'd say we're in good shape. Let's see. Hobby will always be here, yes. Ultimate Dinah says, hey man, if that is going to improve your income, do it. Yeah, I agree. Barely says, apparently I was able to get back into it after 10 years and pick it right back up. There you go. Astray Kai, okay gang, I'm back. What's going on, man? Sprite 2K2 James 2 says, though my one present I want to get for myself for my birthday will be the YF29 Durandal in Isamu colors. I'm a sucker for Macross figures. Nice. Scalpel says, oh my god, I need that metal protractor angle thingy, cutting thingy. Amazon, man, it's down there. It's the general... It's the general metal protractor. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. Let's see. Julie Stemsky says, at Scuffle, Tim has it on his Amazon link. There you go. Yeah, nice. Spare 2K2, looking smooth, Tim. Thank you, man. Macross, is that anything like Robotech? Scuffle said that. It's so messed up. William Williams, that angle protractor is awesome indeed. Yeah, I love the thing. William Williams, that oh, we already read that. Space Rat 53 is Samu, definitely one of my favorite Macross characters. Sparta 2K2 James 2 says we do not talk about Robotech. I love Robotech. William Williams, Macross, Robotech. Time to ask Robotex what the answer is. Yeah, nice. She has shirts too, you guys, that says Robotex now. So good. I might actually have to pick one up. Julie Stamsky looks great. Thank you. Bailey says, love your attention to detail, Tim. That's acceptable when moving from 2D to 3D. Yeah, I think so. I would have liked to have a bit more gap in there, just like the drawing. But again, it's an acceptable loss based on the what we have to do for scratch building. So I'm fine with it. It's not a big deal. Scuffle says, between Zach making me want to buy so many kits and you making me want to buy so many tools, I'm broke. LOL. Sorry, Scuffle. Sorry, man. It's just, you know what? It's just one of them things. Just one of them things. We got to do what we got to do, right? So, all right. So let's move that drawing off. Now that we're in good shape, we have got our blades matched up to the cradle quite nicely. What I need to do is now fuse these two blades together, and to do that, we need to sand up and shore up the two surfaces of each side of these things. So I'm pulling out my big old sanding block here, and let me clean that off. Don't do that, guys. Don't do what I do. Do what I say. Anyway, so we just kind of smooth this surface down, and then everything's gonna get shaky because the camera's connected to the desk with this. This is sitting on the desk. I can do this. Look at this. I don't even have to watch it. Look, Ma. No hands. Well, one hand. All right. So that now flattens out and scuffs up that one side. That gives it some tooth, if you will, for the glue that we will be applying to bite into, right? We want to do it for all four sides. Well, both sides to each piece, right? Now this side doesn't want to get going. Okay, you know what? If you don't have proper grip on a piece, just put on one of your nitrile gloves, and that'll give you a little bit more grip to it. Hopefully. There we go. Now we got it. Now we're working. Okay, that looks pretty good. We're going to finish this piece off with a little hand sanding here, just to make sure that we've got it properly scuffed up. Just in some of these problem areas, like the corner and some of the outside edges and things. We just want to make sure that that has the proper flattening and the amount of tooth that we want to put into this for the glue, right? So same thing with this piece. Let's get this sanding block back into place. Let's get this going. Looking good. Okay, now we're going to put the sanding block away. We're going to take that off. Let's finish this up. Now, for glue, because this is important, for glue, you don't want to use a solvent-based glue to laminate and fuse two plates together, because that will spell disaster for you. If you try to use something like Tamiya Extra Thin, or even the good old Plastic Magic, both of these are solvent-based glue. You don't want that, because what will happen is that the middle of this of these plates, that glue basically, you know, cures in from the outside in, and that inside will have a very, very rough time curing properly. So it may take a very long time for it to properly cure. So what I recommend and what I always use is, yeah, you guessed it, the Loctite. So it has wonderful, wonderful lamination strength. So that's why I use it. Hey, Ron Art over there on Facebook, he says, long time haven't been able to follow your live feed. Been busy at work and at home. Hey, welcome back, Ron. Thank you for watching, buddy. Appreciate it. So yeah, you guys, don't use solvent-based glue when you're fusing two plates together. It's just not good. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. You use the super glue, and trust me, you spread this on evenly, you will never get these two parts apart. Never, ever, 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 ever. Okay, so now we assemble. Now, I like to spread out the super glue just kind of up to the edge. And the reason being is because as this glue squeezes out, it will migrate to the edges. And any gaps or anything like that you have in the edge seam, you can just go back and fill in with a little bit more super glue, and you're basically good to go. But there you can kind of hopefully see that it comes up right to the edge. Just a little bit of space. You can see kind of the reflection there, right? So that's by design. All right, so now take our tweezers here, and placement. Got to be careful with placement. This is key, because you basically only get one shot at this. Yep, see, now that glue is migrating all the way around and squeezing out on pretty much all of the edges. And that's exactly what we want. It's exactly what we want. Now, the problem with that, though, is that it's now glued to the cutting mat. So just take your chisel blade, get underneath of that thing, and then just pry it up. It's good to go. So just kind of spread out the excess along the seams. Just fill in any gaps there. Yes, you're going to get super glue on your fingers, so you might as well make use of it, right? It'll come off, don't worry. Eventually it'll come off. Not right away. And just don't go touching other things. So, but yeah. All right, so now this piece is fused together 100%. We're just applying pressure one more time. And hey, for good measure, put your 1, 2, 3 block over it. And just really, just press the shit out of it. You know? Ooh, and look at that. It squeezed out a little bit more super glue. So that's good. That's good. Now, obviously, there is always going to be, you know, incremental slop in terms of placement, right? So that's not a big deal. That's not a big deal. We can come back, we can sand this flush and make it all perfectly one piece. Simple. So that's how you fuse two plates together. Now, Ron Art over there on Facebook, he asked a very good question. He says, by the way, why not use thicker plate? That would make sense, right? And I even have, look at this, 2mm, I think that's about 2mm plate. Why not just use that? Okay, so this is 2.25 millimeter. So 2.28 right there, right? So why not use this, right? It would make sense. It would cut down on time, right? The thing is, cutting this shit as compared to cutting this is torture to cut. At least for me. And it takes immense amount of time, right? So for my purposes, and just the way that I build, you know, because it's really based on preference, honestly. I just like using the thinner stuff and laminating them together. Another thing that you're going to find, just like with like plywood, right? If you've ever seen plywood, it's just layered of very, very thin pieces of wood, you know, glued and laminated together. Now, structurally, that is stronger than if you were to have a big, flat, single piece of wood. That glue and those layers form strength, much like this, much like laminating two pieces of plastic together. Now, this is now structurally stronger than this single piece of 2.3. Theoretically, of course, but I hope you get my drift. So I just like doing that better. And again, it's personal preference. So that's a very, very good question. Because for some people that like to use thicker sheets of plastic, that's the way to go for them. But yeah, I mean, it's personal preference. It really is personal preference. So, and he says, and messy on the cutting mat. Yeah, well, this cutting mat has seen better days. This cutting mat is getting replaced very, very soon. I've got a new one in waiting, literally 5 feet away from me, that needs to replace this whole thing. So I'm not too worried about this old green thing. But yeah, so that's what we're doing. Eamon Carey over there, he's on Facebook. He says, what are we doing? Well, we are doing a little bit of scratch building, Eamon. You're coming in at the kind of the tail end of the stream. But hey, thanks for coming in anyways. So what we're doing is we're building the mother of all heat hawks here. Let me zoom out so you can kind of see. That's the schematic. That's the drawing that we are working with. And what we've done so far this evening is we've created the blade, and then also we've created the blade cradle here. This part, whoops, let's get on camera. This part right here, we're kind of in the midst of creating that. So we just cut this blade down and glued it together. And now you can see how it fits very, very nicely and snug into that cradle. And now that looks pretty damn close to what the drawing looks like. So that's what we've been doing tonight. So a bit of scratch building, having fun, talking, hanging out, all that good stuff. All the good stuff. So let's see. Space Rat 53 over there on YouTube. He says, well, Robotech is bastardized version of Harmony Gold. Macross is the original by Tatsunoko. Harmony Gold is going to lose their license in 2021, so hoping all the Macross series come here. Yeah, right? I hope. That would be fun. Scupple over there on YouTube says, LO, I am well versed. I was just messing with you. Yeah, it is what it is. Ron Art over there on Facebook, he says, yeah, harder to cut thicker plates, but I am always having a hard time making exact copies on thinner plates. I agree, really based on the preference of the builder. Yes, and Ron, after we're done, go back to kind of kind of rewind this stream if you've got time, because I showed how to get duplicate copies of this part. So that may help. That might help you. That might help you. There are tons of different ways, but I just kind of showed one kind of quick and dirty method, if you will. Yeah, if you got time, man, check it out. Word. All right. So real quick, you guys, let's finish up kind of rough shaping the blade cradle, and then we're gonna try to get it into somewhat of a final assembly here. Okay. So let's trim off this front edge here of this piece. Pop that, and then we're gonna pop this corner off of there. And next, we are going to take our chisel blade, and we're going to use this triangle piece as a guide. We're just going to come down, and we're just going to straight guillotine that front edge until it's nice and even. And so now you got a nice even front edge there, right? So that's looking pretty good. Now, as for these other two, this bottom and the front edge of this here, we're going to need to kind of sand and file that down to final shape. It is just what it is, right? So, all right, so let's do a little bit of sanding on here to get some of this glue squeeze out off of there real quick. So let's handle that before we go placing the blade in there for mock-up. You know what? Let's get the block out. Get the block out. Ah. Shaking the shit out of the camera, I know. Oh, man. All right, so we got that. That's looking good, this side now. Okay, this side just needs a little bit more loving. A little bit more loving from the sanding block. Let's get over here on the edges where the where it's not so gunked up. It's got a little bit more grit to it. Pretty good. All right, so we'll go with that. We'll put the sanding block away. Let's see, Ron Art over there, he says, anyways, without all this video, and if you put all the effort on scratch building that, how long would it take you to finish? I don't know, probably a few hours. For something like this, I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, if I'm taking my time, probably 6-8 hours or so. So, you know, when you're transferring a two-dimensional design to kind of a three-dimensional, and you're, you know, scratch building and all of that, you know, it takes some time, and you know, you gotta really kind of start to you know, kind of feel things out, how everything works in unison. So yeah, it's all part of the scratch building process, man. All right, so here we are. That is not too shabby, you guys. Now we're gonna do obviously some finish sanding. We've got to sharpen the blade edge. We're gonna probably bevel off some of these other shapes, do finish shaping and sanding and everything. But there's your blade cradle with the blade. You can just pop that in and out. Bada boom, bada bing. So like I said, I'm going to keep this separate, probably for painting. and then when final assembly comes around, I'll just pop that in and glue that in with a bit of super glue, and she'll be off to the races. Nice. 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 I like it. All right, so let's see. Going back. Wow, lots of catching up to do because my chat program looked like it took a dump on me again. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it totally took a dump on me, at least from YouTube. Bailey says from a while ago, he says, plus if you just spot glue it, you can still snap the pieces apart with just your hobby knife. Yeah, exactly. Bailey says, great technique for scratch building to duplicate parts. Absolutely. That's, you know, I do that all the time. Like you say, it's basically like spot welding. So yeah, I've done that a lot. Scuffle, is there a material that CA glue does not adhere to? Maybe HDPE, like stuff that milk bottles are made of, so you can make a CA glue spatula. It's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I know it sticks to silicone because I tried using I tried using one of the rubber brushes to spread out super glue one day, and yeah, it ruined that. So what are you gonna do, right? Let's go back to camera one because we're gonna finish it up after we go through the chat here real quick. So where did we leave off? Spider 2K2, James number 2, the 3 Macross DX Chogokin. Valkyrie figures I own are the VF171 Nightmare plus the VF25 Ozma Lee Custom, the older model, not the renewal, and the VF31F. Cool. Bailey says harder to cut. Yeah, those thicker plates are definitely a little bit harder to cut. And you don't really, you don't necessarily get the same accuracy with those because your blade can wobble out of being perpendicular or whatever angle that you're cutting it at. So yeah, it's just again, it's personal preference. It's just not my preference, So Julie Stemsky says I'm interested in seeing how Tim sharpens the blade edge. It's gonna take let's see, it's going to take number one, this big sumbitch first. That's going to be the bulk of it. This guy's going to do the heavy lifting, and then we're going to use these little guys for really starting to hone the blade, and then we can finish it off just with some scraping using the hobby knife, simple hobby knife. So that will probably be the process of sharpening that particular blade. So it's not too hard, it just takes a little bit of time. Bailey says, I just cut some 2mm black sheets for a part. Pain in the ass. Yeah, dude. I know that pain, man. I know that pain. Hasaki Ardhendren says, that's where the Sonic Cutter comes in, which is too damn expensive. Yeah, dude, it is. Micromark just came out with one in their catalog, and it's like $400. Like, no, man. Let's see. Spider 2K2 James number 2 says, I feel you, Tim, on the cutting of 2mm plow plates. I had to use them for the base I made recently for my MosquitoCon entry. There you go. Let's see. William Wilms, yeah. Hasaki Yard, how is an electric toothbrush with a hobby blade so that the on the end so damn expensive? Actually, it's more than that. That's a very, very simplistic very simplistic explanation of an ultrasonic cutter, but there's more to it. There's definitely more to it. And that stuff, man, that I will be honest with you, I've seen it in action. That stuff cuts through plastic like butter. If I could afford one, I absolutely would have one. Yeah. Jimmy Jimmy over there on Gunpla Fixation. I think he has one, and yeah, he goes crazy for it. Aaron Simons, last year's GBWC champion from Australia, I also think has one, and yeah, he raves and rants over it. So yeah. Let's see. Dwidget, hey Tim, are we doing another 4-hour stint tonight? No, brother, we are not. I am tired, so we're gonna cut it off here very, very shortly. I'm just kind of catching up with the comments and everything, answering questions and stuff like that. But no, we are not going 4 hours again like we did last Friday. That's once in a blue moon. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Let's see. Julius Dembski, Tim, you should put a hummingbird sticker on that mat, sign it, and auction it off. I mean, nobody would buy that. Nobody would buy that. But I appreciate the sentiment. Scuffle says, what's funny is a lot of people don't understand when you have a blade without the cutting mat, you only have half a tool. Yeah, kind of. Spark2K2, Tim, we got an earthquake. Yeah, well. Either that or Chris Christie fell over. Oh, zing. Now, mind you, guys, James can say that because he's from New Jersey. Which is still goddamn funny. Asaki art looks great, man. Thank you, man. Bailey says, where's Dean? I know, where is Dean? He missed all the parts. He would be happy. We'll have to tell him next time. Spark2K2, hey Tim, just a thought, why not pin the blade in? You could, but I think the issue that you're going to come in with is that it's I forgot I'm not on 2 camera. Let's go to 2 camera and I'll kind of show you. The problem that you're going to run into is that the back of the blade cradle is only 1 millimeter, so you only have a 1 millimeter space. Now you could put it in through the main body of the Mohawk here, and I think that's its name now, Bailey. You could put a pin in here into the main body of it, but I think the issue that's going to come into play is that you need to slot it in here first and then tilt it in. You can't just pop it in perpendicular like that. You just can't slide it in. So there's that. And honestly, I think once you get a bit of super glue in here and push this in, that's going to hold like nobody's business. And especially once you get paint, primer, and clear coat and all that on here, these tolerances will definitely tighten up, and that will create a clamp almost on that blade. And shit, you probably wouldn't even need super glue to hold the thing in there securely. But I think pinning it probably just a little overkill at this point. So, but it is a good thought. It is a good suggestion, though. Guelo over there on Twitch. What's up, dude? Oh, look at that. Ishmael Gamboa. Thank you for the subscribe. Appreciate that, brother. Welcome to the family. Thank you for watching. But Guelo Scotty over there says, sticker pack was sent out yesterday. Sweet. Sweet. I like it. Getting some stickers from Guelo for the workbench. Because I showed you guys, what was it, last stream? Yeah, the stickers on the workbench. So he's sending me some. So thank you, Scotty. Appreciate that, brother. Okay, you guys. I think it's about that time. I think it is. Let's see here. Oh wait, hold on. It looks like the chat program just took another giant shit on me. Because it's not matching here. Hang on. All right, let me get caught up. Scuffle. I swear, man. Okay. So, yeah, okay. So we lost it. So I lost all of the YouTube comments after James Spider2K2 said thought asterisk. So I'm reading everything and trying to get caught up now from there. Scuffle says, somebody start a GoFundMe to get Tim an ultrasonic cutter. Nice, thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, if you do that, shit, that'd be amazing. Twitch has said, hey Tim, when are you selling stickers of the Chibi Hummingbird? Maybe. That's all I can say right now, maybe. Edwin RSA, what's up, Edwin? Says, thanks Tim, learning a lot from this axe build. Should work on my project backlog after learning. Nice. Chris R, I could send you some AZ Gunpla stick. Dude, yeah, do it. I'll slap them up there on the bench. Bailey says, take care, everybody. Holy Mountain Printing, all that good stuff. For those that were interested in the Macross Tex, has been wearing. Yeah. Joe Zdemski, I hope I won't miss any streams. They help keep me inspired to build kits. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. And good luck with the off time, too. Gary Gumpla over there on Twitch, can I send you a sticker too, Tim? Absolutely, brother. I'll pop it up there on the deal. I'll send you some of mine. Hit me up on like an Instagram or something like that. DM me and we'll exchange info and handle that. So, yeah, definitely. So cool. Rock and roll. We're caught up. All right, boys and girls. Equal opportunity stream here, everybody, because you know what? There's some kick-ass girl builders out there. Don't front. So, what is it? 12:47 my time. We've gone almost 3 hours tonight. Man, good stream. Did a little bit of scratch building tonight. Good stuff. So, you guys, as always, if you want to pick up one of these cool-ass I Build Giant Robot t-shirts, go hit up the Child of Mecha store. Hit childofmecha.com. Hit the store thing up at the top. You'll find shirts, you'll find hats, you'll find bags, all that other cool stuff. And then also, if you are interested in the tools and things that we worked with tonight, hit the Amazon link just below here on Twitch and YouTube. Over on this side if you're watching on Facebook. And as always, this build is brought to you by our good... I still got to get the pointing thing down. Brought to you by our good friends over at USA Gundam Store. Make sure if you need some kits or some paints or some other supplies and things like that, you hit those guys up. Adam Ryan is a wonderful individual, and I thank him every single time for his support on this build. So go hit up USA Gundam Store, you guys. Great site, great guys. So go get you some. Anyway, we're going to be back here on Monday, you guys. I'm going to continue working on this axe and probably get a lot done over the weekend. So, hell, it may even be done by the time we get to Monday. But that doesn't mean that we're done scratch building any things. No. We're going to be scratch building and customizing and kit bashing and just kicking this build's ass from now until we can't do it anymore. Let's put it that way. Okay? So, come on back on Monday. And I want you guys to have a safe and happy weekend. Go build something cool, man. All right? See you guys next time. Take care, guys.